I grew up in a small town in Texas where high school football wasn't just a sport, it was a religion. Friday nights meant packed bleachers, marching bands, cheerleaders, and the whole town showing up like it was the Super Bowl. I wasn't on the team or anything, but I worked part-time as a janitor's assistant at the school, mostly to save up for college and help my mom with bills. That night, the night everything happened, it was just another game. Early October, cool weather, clear sky, and the stadium lights burning so bright they could be seen from 2 towns over. We were playing our rivals from the next county, and the place was packed. I was assigned to clean up after the game. Nothing new, just a few hours of sweeping up trash under the bleachers, checking bathrooms, and locking up gates. Mr. Dale, the head janitor, usually did it with me, but he had called in sick, so it was just me. At the time, that didn't bother me. I liked working alone. I had headphones, a flashlight, and a big trash cart. I figured I'd be done by 11:30 and home by midnight. The first weird thing happened around 9:30, just before the fourth quarter started. I was under the west side bleachers, where the home fans sat. It's a steel structure, beams and crossbars, and you can see through to the field in some places. I was just sweeping up spilled popcorn and empty soda cups when I thought I heard someone breathing. Not just breathing, panting. I stopped moving for a second, pulled out one earbud. Silence. Then again, short, fast breaths, like someone hiding and trying not to be heard. It came from deeper in the shadows, behind one of the steel supports. I figured maybe some kid had snuck down here to smoke or make out or whatever. I wasn't looking to be a narc. I just called out, "Hey, this area's off limits during the game." No answer. I turned on my flashlight and walked toward the sound. Nothing. Just a crushed beer can and some dried chewing gum on the metal supports. The breathing stopped. I figured I was hearing things. Maybe it was just my own breath bouncing off the walls. Stadium acoustics can be weird. I went back to work. By the time the game ended, it was around 10:15. Most of the crowd had left by then, and the stadium lights had dimmed to half brightness. The marching band was packing up, and the team was celebrating on the field. I kept my head down and moved over to the visitor side to finish up the bleacher area. The visitor bleachers are smaller, with less structure underneath, more open. That's when I noticed something that still makes my skin crawl just thinking about it. From across the field, I could see back under the home side bleachers where I'd been earlier. There was someone standing down there, dead still, just standing in the dark, between the beams, not moving at all. I thought maybe it was a coach or security guy, but this person wasn't wearing anything identifiable. No jacket, no uniform, just dark clothes, and they weren't watching the field. They were looking directly at me. I froze, raised my hand to block the glare from the lights. Still standing, still staring. I blinked. Gone. Just like that. I tried to laugh it off, told myself it was a shadow or maybe someone walking by quickly. I was tired. My eyes were playing tricks. I had work to finish. But when I went back to the west bleachers to sweep under the last rows, I swear to God, the air felt colder under there. Not like outside air cold, like basement cold, stale, still, like something was watching me from the shadows again. I picked up the pace after that. By 11:20, I was almost done. I had one last thing to do, check the bathrooms near the back gate. They're old buildings, kind of detached from the stadium. No cameras back there. The lights inside are on motion sensors. You walk in, lights come on. I entered the men's room first. Lights clicked on, all good. Checked the stalls, all empty. As I turned to leave, the lights flicked off. Not gradually, just bam, total darkness. I waved my arms, nothing. Then I heard a stall door creak open behind me. I whipped around and clicked my flashlight on. Empty. All the stalls were still open. I stepped backwards slowly, not even breathing. Suddenly the lights came back on by themselves. No sound, no movement, just me. I laughed nervously and got out of there fast. I figured the sensors were just busted, old system, nothing unusual. Except, when I checked the women's restroom next, the lights were already on. And one of the stall doors was shut. That was the only door closed. I stood in the entryway for a second, just staring at it. Should I say something? What would I even say? Janitor here, closing up? Silence. No movement. I took a step closer. Another. Right as I reached for the door, it creaked open slowly on its own. Empty. Not a soul inside. But on the mirror above the sink, someone had drawn something with a finger in the condensation, like the mirror had recently fogged up. 3 words. He sees you. I stood there frozen, staring at the message on the mirror. He sees you. My mind raced for a logical explanation. Maybe it was an old message left by a kid messing around. Maybe it had been there earlier and I just hadn't noticed. Maybe. But the air in that bathroom felt heavy, like the atmosphere right before a tornado touches down. Static. Charged. I wiped the mirror clean with my sleeve, trying to erase it, trying to erase the feeling that I wasn't alone. As I turned to leave, I caught a glimpse of something in the corner of my eye. Movement, fast and low, like someone ducking into one of the stalls. I swung my flashlight back, heart pounding in my ears. Nothing. The stalls were all wide open. I told myself, you're tired, you're seeing things, and I practically ran out of that bathroom, locking the doors behind me. The stadium was dead quiet now. No players, no band, no families packing up their minivans. Just me, my cart, and the echo of my own footsteps. I moved faster than usual, locking up the side gates and collecting the last trash bags. I didn't want to look under the bleachers again, but I had to. It was part of the job, a final sweep. As I pushed the cart along the back perimeter, something caught my eye near the far end of the bleachers, a flash of red. I squinted into the dark. It looked like a backpack. Someone must have forgotten it after the game. Reluctantly, I wheeled the cart over to it. The backpack was old and worn, dirty like it had been dragged through the mud. No logos, no tags, just a filthy, reddish-brown canvas bag sitting by one of the steel supports. I nudged it with my boot. It was heavy. Something metallic clanked inside. I knelt down and unzipped it slowly, half expecting a raccoon or something to leap out. Instead, I found chains. Rusty, thick chains, bundled tightly together, and a pair of handcuffs. No explanation, no context, just chains and cuffs. My stomach dropped. I zipped the bag closed immediately and backed away, heart hammering. That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Behind me. Slow, deliberate, crunching the gravel. I spun around, flashlight shaking in my hand. Nobody. The footsteps stopped when I stopped, started again when I started. I shined the beam wildly, slicing through the darkness, and for a split second, just a split second, I saw him. Under the bleachers. Crouched low. A man. Dirty, grimy, eyes glinting like an animal caught in headlights. He smiled at me. Not a friendly smile, not even a threatening one. It was worse than that. It was a knowing smile, like he knew me, like he had been waiting for me. I dropped the trash cart and ran, full sprint across the gravel lot, not even looking back. I didn't care about the cart, the backpack, nothing. My car was parked all the way at the back of the faculty lot. At that moment, it felt like it was a mile away. As I ran, I heard something behind me, not footsteps this time, laughter, low, raspy, almost a whisper carried on the wind. When I finally reached my car, I fumbled the keys 3 times before I managed to unlock the door. I dove in, slammed it shut, and locked every door manually. I sat there for a second, chest heaving, staring at the rearview mirror, expecting to see him right behind me. But there was no one. Just empty bleachers and darkness. I told myself, just drive, just get the hell out of here. And that's exactly what I did. At home, I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house made me jolt upright. Every shadow looked too thick, too solid. Around 2:30 a.m., I heard a knock at the front door. 3 slow knocks. No doorbell, no shouting. Just knock, knock, knock. I lay in bed, paralyzed. Another knock. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Eventually, it stopped. I waited until sunrise before I finally got up and checked the peephole. Nothing there. But taped to the outside of the door, with a strip of grimy, old masking tape, was a single Polaroid photo. I peeled it off with shaking hands and looked at it. It was me, taken the night before, under the bleachers, sweeping, smiling. Except, I wasn't smiling last night. I didn't go into work the next day. I texted Mr. Dale and said I was sick, which wasn't technically a lie. My stomach was in knots. My head felt like it was full of static, and I couldn't stop thinking about that photo. Someone had been watching me. Not just watching, photographing me, while I was working, under those bleachers, at night, alone. And the smile in the photo, it wasn't mine. It looked like me, but the expression was wrong. Too wide, too perfect, too unnatural. I spent most of Saturday sitting on the couch, blinds shut, lights on, phone in my hand. I kept checking my windows every 20 minutes, nothing. Around 4 p.m., I finally convinced myself I was being paranoid. Maybe it was a prank. Maybe someone photoshopped that image or found an old picture from a school yearbook. Maybe someone was trying to scare me as a joke. I tossed the photo on the kitchen table and tried to move on. But that night, things got worse. Around 10:45 p.m., just as I was brushing my teeth, I heard something outside. At first it sounded like wind, then gravel crunching, then tapping, rhythmic, sharp, on the bathroom window. I froze, toothbrush still in my mouth. My bathroom is on the second floor. I live alone. No trees near that window, no ledge to stand on, nothing. I crept to the window and pulled the blind back just an inch. No one. But there was something on the glass. I leaned closer. A fingerprint, pressed hard into the condensation. And not just one, 3. Side by side, horizontal. And below them, 2 faint smudges, like long streaks running downward. It looked like eyes, staring through the window, from the outside. I slept with the lights on that night, if you can even call it sleep. I kept jolting awake every hour, convinced someone was in the room with me. By Sunday, I'd reached my limit. I drove straight to the police station and showed them the photo from my door and told them someone was stalking me. The officer who took my statement, a young guy named Reeves, tried to act calm, but I could tell he was unsettled. He asked if I had any enemies. I didn't. Ex-girlfriends? No. Any criminal history? None. He took the photo and fingerprinted it, but he didn't make any promises, just said they'd keep a patrol car in the area. I didn't feel safer. That night, I noticed something odd. I was going over the photo again on my phone, zooming in, trying to see if I'd missed anything. That's when I realized there was a reflection, very faint, in the metal support beam next to me. A face. Not mine, not fully visible, but just enough to see part of the mouth. Grinning. Again. That same wide, unnatural grin. It hadn't been a shadow that night. It had been him. Right behind me. The man under the bleachers had been close enough to touch me, and I hadn't even known. Monday, I went back to work. I couldn't afford not to. The school felt different now, colder, quieter, like every hallway had something waiting at the end of it. Mr. Dale noticed I was jumpy and pale. He asked if I was okay. I lied and said I was fine. That night, I asked to be assigned to the gym instead of the stadium. I couldn't go back there. He agreed. But as I was cleaning the back hallway near the gym storage closet, I noticed something strange on the floor. A set of footprints. Bare feet. Dirty, wet, leading toward the locker room, which had been locked for the weekend. I followed them cautiously, heart pounding. They stopped at the door. I unlocked it with my master key, pushed it open slowly, and flicked on the light. The room was empty. Except, every locker door was open. Every single one. and inside locker number 28, mine, was the red canvas backpack. I slammed the locker shut so hard it echoed down the empty hallway. I didn't touch the bag. I didn't open it. I didn't even want to know if the chains and cuffs were still inside. All I could think about was how it had gotten in there. How someone had entered a locked room and left something meant just for me. I quit that night. Didn't wait until morning. Didn't give 2 weeks notice. Didn't clean up. I walked out of that school and never went back. For a while, I thought that was the end of it. Weeks passed. No more knocks. No more photos. Nothing left on my door. No fingerprints on my windows. I got a job at the gas station on Route 16. Third shift. Boring. Uneventful. Safe. Until one night. It was around 2 a.m. I was alone in the store, restocking candy near the windows, when I noticed something strange in the security monitor. One of the outside cameras, the one facing the back lot, was dark, not offline, just pitch black, as if someone had covered the lens. I walked around the counter, pushed open the back door to check. The air outside felt wrong. Thick, still, like the whole world had stopped breathing. I stepped out cautiously, looking around. Nothing, no cars, no people. Then I looked up at the camera. A single finger was pressed against the lens. I jumped back, heart exploding in my chest, and slammed the door shut. I locked it, deadbolt and all, grabbed my phone and ran to the front. The camera feed flickered back on. Nothing there. Just the empty lot. I waited until morning and told my manager I was done, another job gone. But this wasn't about jobs anymore. It was about him. Whoever, whatever, he was. He wasn't finished. I moved in with my cousin in Austin. She thought I was being dramatic, said I needed sleep, a therapist, maybe less caffeine. But then she saw it too. One night we were watching TV. She got up to grab a drink from the kitchen and stopped mid-step. She called out, "Why'd you hang a photo of yourself in the backyard?" I sat up. "What?" She pointed out the window, by the fence, that Polaroid, taped to the glass. I walked over slowly. It wasn't taped to the fence. It was taped to the outside of the window. We lived on the second floor. It was another photo of me. This time, asleep on the couch. The blinds had been closed. We called the police again. They didn't find anything. No prints, no signs of forced entry. But something had changed in her after that. She didn't say anything, but I could see it. She locked every window, slept with her bedroom light on, and she started keeping a kitchen knife beside her bed. 2 weeks later, I moved out. I couldn't drag anyone else into this. I thought about leaving the state, changing my name, going off-grid. But something told me it wouldn't matter. Because wherever I went, he'd find me. Because he wasn't just some guy. He wasn't just hiding under the bleachers. He was the bleachers. He was the dark corners of the stadium, the silence in the school hallways, the static in the cameras, the cold in the night air. He was everywhere I tried to ignore. Every time I dismissed a chill on the back of my neck. Every moment I told myself I was just tired, just stressed, just seeing things. He lives in that space. He watches from it. And he waits. Last night, I thought maybe I'd gotten away. It's been months. I was finally feeling okay again, had my own place, small job at a bookstore, even started sleeping through the night. I was in bed, reading, when I heard something. Not loud, just soft, faint. A creak. From under the bed. I froze. Slowly leaned down, heart pounding. Lifted the sheet. Nothing. But on the floor, under the frame, barely visible in the shadows, was a folded piece of paper. I reached out and pulled it toward me with shaking fingers. It was a Polaroid. Of me. Taken from directly underneath the bed. And this time, I'm smiling.